Hello, this is Sean, Longevity with BringingDownTheBand.com and the New Old Heads podcast. And today for my Be a Better Artist series, what I'm going to do is show you how I would make a quick news video for Bringing Down the Band or one of my other YouTube channels in pretty much under 30 minutes. And I'm going to show you the process and kind of how I do everything in Davinci Resolve so you could do it too and tweak it in your own way. Once you learn how to do all these things and you get quick with them, you can probably crank out videos pretty fast. So if there's something breaking that you want to get out, you can put together something that's reasonably high quality, at least not trash, right? And be able to put it together. So let's get into it. So for today's video, the news that I'm going to just kind of be demoing is something that The Alchemist shared on Twitter on May 22nd, which was yesterday, I believe. Yes. So he shared, we did a whole album on YouTube under a fake name and YouTube page, fake album covers, song titles, the whole nine, and nobody found it yet. All right, so I want to make a video based on the fact that The Alchemist and Earl Sweatshirt secretly released a collaborative album on YouTube, and it still hasn't been found. Now, the original tweet that Alchemist sent out came in 2019, and this has been brought back up again because him and Earl have recently worked together on Alchemist's new EP. All right, so maybe this would be something that the fan base of Bringing Down the Band would enjoy. So now the first thing that I want to do is write some copy. All right, that I'm going to actually be reading, and I actually already wrote it, so you can kind of see it on the screen here. I'm going to blow it up. Now, I'm going to hold Control and scroll up on my mouse wheel so you can kind of see it bigger. So this is the copy that I'm actually going to be reading in video form. It's important for me to kind of note at this point that the program that I am using to record everything in is Streamlabs. So you can kind of see everything that I'm seeing now. I have a whole bunch of scenes set up over here for different things that we do on the New Old Heads Network. But I'm recording everything right now directly through Streamlabs. Depending on the different screens I use here, you can see different things. So I jump in and out depending on what everything is set to. Okay, now at this point, I'm kind of assuming that you already know how to record yourself and capture your video and your audio. If you don't, maybe I'll make another video for it some other time if somebody needs that information. But for now, I'm going to turn this on and I'm going to read my copy in video form on here so you guys can actually see me do it. And I may end up using the video of me speaking on this, or I may just use the audio of it, but at least I will have both as I'm doing it. Okay. Now I'm using a Shure SM7B, which I like. I have some compression on it. I've done some things like that. I actually kind of prefer to do these on a condenser microphone, which I have one right here. But I don't feel like taking this off and plugging that in today. So I'm just going to use this. And this works, as you can tell. The quality is pretty decent. Sometimes you will hear plosives, which I can fix in the mix. But as long as the audio is decent, you know, you should be good. All right, so let me go ahead. All right, so at that point right there, I've read the copy. Hopefully it looks decent in the camera. I don't know. What I'm going to do for this is not going to have myself blown up on screen. I'm actually going to have myself in a small little box. So I'm going to show you how to do that eventually. Now what I'm going to do is start working on everything. So let me switch cameras here so you can kind of see what I'm working on. All right, so the first thing that I wanted to do was clip and take a picture of this, tweet here, and to be able to use it later on. So what I'm going to do is hit my print screen button on my computer. So I can take a screenshot. I'm going to pull up just basic paint. I'm going to hit Control and V. And so what I can do at this point is just capture this right here. Hit Command if you're on Mac, Control if you're on PC, Control X. We'll cut that out. I'll zoom out here with the Control button and my mouse wheel. I'll zoom all the way in here, so it's really tiny. And I'm going to hit Control and zoom out on my mouse wheel, hit Control and V to paste, and there's that. Now I'm just going to save this, which I have already done this, but it would be right here. Hit Save, blah, blah, blah. Now I already did this for his old one as well. Now what I'm going to do is open up a program called Davinci Resolve. Now Davinci Resolve is free. It's a pretty dope editing program that allows you to do almost pretty much most of the basic things that you will need for video editing. All right, so let me go ahead and drag Davinci over here. Now what I'm going to do is import this video that I'm actually recording right now. So let me pause, and here is this. So I'm going to take this, drag this over. So the Davinci files save directly into your videos folder. So I'm going to drag this into here, and you can see everything that I've been showing you so far. All right, so at this point, what I'm going to do is set my video up. And what I need to do is maybe do an intro real quick. So I'm going to say something like I said at the beginning, which, let me go back to the Lumix camera now. You guys can see me. And I'm going to say, this is Sean, Longevity with bringingdowntheband.com and the New Old Heads podcast, and I'm bringing you some hip-hop news. All right, so I'm going to grab the other one, drag it on over here, drag it down here. This is Sean, Longevity with bringingdowntheband.com. This is Sean, Longevity with bringingdowntheband.com and the New Old Heads podcast, and I'm bringing you some hip-hop news. All right, so at this point, what I'm going to do, this little cut tool, and I'm going to slice it right about there, and I don't need anything after this. I'm going to hit Command and X to cut it. You can also just hit delete. What I like to do with my Bringing Down the Band videos is I'll drag a short drop in, which is just a pre-made little video graphic. I like to right-click on it, change the clip speed, make it go pretty fast. Then it goes in here, and I'm bringing you some hip-hop news. All right, and then right here, I would start my audio. All right, so what I'm going to do now is drag this over here and find the part where I am talking my other dialog box, news. Fake album cover, song titles, the whole nine. Second, 2000 album on YouTube. Time passed, nobody found it. After he set this tweet out, which now it's probably going to take you a couple times to get your dialogue right. I'm still not 100% happy every time I do my dialogue, but I just end up rolling with it. You know, it's like you're staring at your face and listening to your voice, and if you're not accustomed to it, it could, you know, I don't know, give you anxiety or something. But when he shared that a long-awaited album, all right, so to a small frenzy when he shared that long. One of the main reasons why I'm not overly concerned is because my face on this is not going to be the main drawing thing. I like to give people a small little, you know, box so they can see me if they want to watch me speak. But realistically, what I'm going to have in the background is actually pictures of The Alchemist or pictures of Earl Sweatshirt or maybe even a small video of something. Or maybe I'll just do it here. All right, so in 2019, The Alchemist sent rap Twitter into a small frenzy when he shared that long-awaited. No, I screwed that up. Let me do it again. I'm guessing right. So in 2019, on the way on. So I also like to overlap the dialogue with this little box here. Now, granted, as I'm doing all this, please know that I am no videographer. Right? I am not a professional. I'm a professional sound person. So what I'm teaching you and showing you today is how to get by if you're not a professional, okay? There are definitely many of you that are way better than me, and that is perfectly fine. That is great. So in 2019, The Alchemist sent rap Twitter into a small frenzy when he shared that a long-awaited album between him and Odd Future's Earl Sweatshirt wasn't only on the way, but had already arrived under a different and fake name and fake group, and that it was hiding on YouTube. All right, so that's like a thing that I do, I like grab my ear every once in a while. So I need to cut that out. I'm gonna cut right there. And I believe I like repeated the same thing. This whole thing was spawned, as I said, on Twitter, as Alchemist claimed that he had secretly. So I realized that I doubled up on some of my information on my copy, so I actually just cut all that out in real time. Pretty much just told everybody to go and search and find this album on YouTube. Time passed. Nobody found it. Let's fast forward to May 22nd, 2021. Alchemist came back to Twitter with another tweet that said, what I like to do is if I screw dialogue up, I'll just pause for a second and then I'll just go back and I'll just redo it. That way you don't have to like stop your recording and then do it again. You just pause and then you do it again. Just like recording audio takes. We hid a whole album on YouTube under a fake name and YouTube page, fake album cover, song titles, the whole nine. Nobody found it yet. Now so what I also like to do when I edit audio, or excuse me, video, is I like to squish everything together into a bunch of small little takes. Like cut out the breaks. Now, not everybody likes to do this, but I do. In 19, The Alchemist sent rap. So what I would do is actually come in here and look at these like empty spaces. And I have it snapped to grid here. And you can kind of see where all these spaces are, right? So you can just come in there, click it, hit delete. And you can kind of watch it. The Alchemist sent rap Twitter into a small frenzy when he shared that a long-awaited album between him and Odd Future's Earl Sweatshirt wasn't. Yeah, and you don't have to go like really close. Obviously, this is all about personal preference, and like what you want it to kind of look and sound like. Earl Sweatshirt wasn't only on the way, but had already arrived under a different and fake. Be a little bit here, not a ton. Be a little bit there. A different and fake name and fake group, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out, and I'm going to show it on the screen right now. But I really don't need to say that. I'd kind of ad-libbed that, and I probably shouldn't have. This tweet out, and so he says this is information. This tweet out, and I'm going to show it on the screen right now. But he pretty much told everybody to go and search and find this. Pretty much told everybody to go and search and find this tweet out. Pretty much told everybody to go and search. So he says this tweet out. Pretty much told everybody to go and search and find this album on YouTube. Time passed. Nobody found it. Fast forward to May 22nd, 2021. Alchemist came back. I don't hate it. It's not gonna be, I'm not going to be focusing on the video right now. Find this album on YouTube. Time passed. Nobody found it. Fast forward to May 22nd, 2021. Alchemist came back to Twitter with another tweet that said, we hit a whole album on YouTube under a fake name and YouTube page, fake album cover, song titles, the whole nine. Nobody found it. Now this most likely was. It's better to take the few moments out, maybe 5 minutes, write the copy out, and learn to read the copy, as opposed as to just kind of free flinging it every time. Unless you get really good at it, you know. But at least that's my take on that. Fake name and YouTube page, fake album cover, song titles, the whole nine. Nobody found it yet. Now, this most likely was spawned because of people reaching out on social media saying that they wanted an Earl and Alchemist album, and because Earl has recently appeared on 2 of the 4 songs from Alchemist recently released This Thing of Ours EP, which is out now. All right, so at that point right there, I've read the copy. All right, so this is total about a minute all the way through. All right, so what I'm going to do now, that was decent. I'm going to highlight all of these edits that I did. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to hit new compound clip. And what this does is it merges all that together so I can move it however I want and all that good stuff. And I can also control this video size. I can also control the video volume. I need to decide what I want the background to be. So for the background, what I want it to be is I'm going to take some pictures of Earl and Alchemist together. So I'm just going to go to Google. I'm going to go to Tools. I'm going to go to Size, and I'm going to go to Large because I want these to be large images so they're not grainy. All right. Now it looks like a whole bunch of people have already kind of talked about this. Oh, that's kind of a dope picture. So I'm going to save that one. Now, granted, a lot of these pictures are owned by other people. Okay, so keep that in mind. But for under fair use conditions, if you use the picture and it's only on the screen for, let's say, less than 10 seconds, you'll be okay. If you want to take a little bit more time, what you can do is put the name of whoever took the picture in the credits of the video in a small corner. Now, let's see. All right, that's cool. See if there's some videos. All right, that's right. This just dropped. So 1 week ago, 1 month ago. So what I'm going to do now is...
Want a lawn that looks like this, but you're...
I'm going to use 4K downloader. And what you can do with 4K downloader, look it up, Google it if you're not familiar, copy the URL, and paste it in here. Now, sometimes the links don't parse, which is all right. Sometimes they do, so it can't parse it, which means it can't download it. So what I'm going to do specifically is in my Streamlabs, oops, you see here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to capture the full screen, right? So you're going to see me go to full screen mode and close out of this. And I'm going to play this and I'm going to capture this video because what I'm going to use this for is maybe a small portion of the background of the video. So as my head's going to be in the corner, I'm playing this video in the background just for a short period of time. The goal here is to not straight copy, right? I don't want to actually, this looks a little small. So let me see if I can maximize the screen here. I can do it. So here's a bunch of parts of the video. Let's see if there's anything with an Alchemist. There's Alchemist right there. All right, so I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm recording all this. And then there's Earl. Cool. This is kind of new too, right? Now what I can also do, go to his newer video. Do the same thing. So I'm still recording right now. Let's see if I can find a power now because that's what would be ideal. I think that's probably that Alchemist said. I don't know. What is this stuff? All right. All right, so look at the new. Let's see if I can find something else with Alchemist real quick while I'm recording. Can't think of any songs off the top of it. IG Live. Find some videos that make sense. Find some pictures that make sense. Be careful of the videos you take, obviously. Now, we're using fair use, right? So we're using it as a background piece. So if you use it typically for 5 to 10 seconds, you're going to be okay. Especially if you have other stuff on your screen when you're making your video. You don't want it to be the focal point, right? You're just using the video as a anecdote to everything else that you're creating. But with YouTube's Content ID system, sometimes it can find the video if somebody has it, and it can block it. So that's why we're going to save the video when we're done making it and not just like completely delete it. We're going to upload it, make sure that we're Gucci, and then we're going to upload it and we should be good. But as long as we're typically below or under 10 to 15 seconds with any video or photo clip, we should be good. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to import the video that I just did, which is this one. Okay, I'm going to take that video, drag this in here. It's going to be on a different track. And depending on, I actually would prefer to use videos because it's a little faster than using than pictures, but the picture stuff can be done really fast. So let's see. So in 2019, sent rap Twitter, whole 9, nobody. So one thing I'm going to do is because I don't need the audio on both of these, I'm going to unlink these clips. I'm just going to hit Command X to delete. You hit delete, sometimes it deletes like parts of it. As you'll see, it does this, which I don't want to do. So I'm just going to hit Command X, which cuts it. All right, now I'm going to go and fast forward and find some of these images. So here's the video. YouTube. So he set this tweet out, pretty much just told everybody to go and search and find this. All right, so the video is pretty full, right? But you notice that on the sides here, it's because of how the video is shot, you have the black area. So what I'm going to do is actually zoom up here, zoom it in, maybe drag it down a little bit. And I'm going to drag this over. So in 2019, The Alchemist sent rap Twitter into a small frame. Now what you can also do, right, is you can do some things like you can go to your clip speed duration, you can slow the video down even more. So in 2019, The Alchemist sent rap Twitter into a small frenzy when he shared that a long-awaited album between him and Odd Future's Earl Sweatshirt. All right, so what I want to do, so the first part I'm talking specifically about The Alchemist, right? So I want to fast forward to a part in the video where I'm legitimately talking about The Alchemist, where he's clapping slowly there, right? So I'm going to cut this, move this up here, move this over here. So in 2019, The Alchemist sent rap Twitter into a small frenzy when he shared that a long-awaited album between him and Odd Future's Earl Sweatshirt wasn't only on the way, but had already arrived under a different and fake name and fake group, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out pretty much. All right, so that's good for that clip. Might be a little too long, so maybe I'll do this halfway. I like the slow Alchemist clip. So in 2019, zoom in here. So in 2019, The Alchemist sent rap Twitter into a small frenzy when he shared that a long-awaited album between him and Odd Future's Earl Sweatshirt wasn't only on the way, but had already arrived under a different and fake name and fake group. And on the way, you can start to slowly see how we're going to piece this together. So the video part is just going to be the background. Now we can do the same thing with just straight images as well, which I'll show you how I would do. But I always prefer to use videos and maybe slow them down a little bit. Told everybody to go and search and find this. It wasn't only on the way, but had already arrived under a different and fake name and fake group, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he said, all right, so I'm going to actually keep this clip for the end when I talk about the fact that him and Earl are still working together. So I'm going to cut that right there. Just delete that. Earl Sweatshirt wasn't only on the way, but had already arrived under a different and fake name and fake group, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he said, all right, so at this point, I'm going to start adding in some of the images. All right, so let me right click on here, import media. I'm going to go to my downloads folder. Okay, and so what I can start doing is stacking even more. So in 2019, The Alchemist sent rap Twitter into a small frenzy when he shared long-awaited between him and Odd Future's Earl Sweatshirt wasn't only on the way, but had already arrived. Long-awaited album between him and Odd Future's Earl Sweatshirt wasn't only on the way, but had already arrived under a different and fake name and fake group, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out. All right, so what I'm going to do here is what I'm going to, I guess it just depends, like how I want it to look. I actually kind of like it big like that. Maybe I'll just make it a little smaller. All frenzy. What I am going to do, though, is for this part, all right, so I actually have to move, I'm going to keep these linked, but I'm going to move this one above it. Now what I'm going to do now is actually shrink myself pretty small. And I'm going to just kind of position it here. Like this. Podcast, and I'm bringing, and I'm actually going to unlink these clips. I'm going to, wait, not, yeah, oh shoot. Okay, drag it up. All right, and now what I can do here is I can add a border around this if I want. I can do some other things. I do actually have a border I can add on that, I believe. So let's see, bringing on the band border with links. So I'm going to drag this above it. Then I just have to like, ooh, holding the wrong button. Just have to shrink just that. Oh shoot, wrong button. This one. On top of it, right? So back down. I'll shrink it here. It probably would be easier if I just knew the dimensions, but I don't know the dimensions off top. So it's going to be a minute. Highlight. Okay, so if I zoom in, I can see that I need to make this a little bigger here still. There we go. Now I can move both of them. Looks like it's good. All right, so I'm going to move this over to this side. I'm going to kind of keep it proportional there. So in 2019, The Alchemist sent rap Twitter. So in 2019, The Alchemist sent rap Twitter into a small frenzy when he shared that a long-awaited album between him and Odd Future's Earl Sweatshirt wasn't only on the way, but had already arrived. All right, so I can cut myself out here. Future's Earl Sweatshirt wasn't only on the way, but had already arrived under a different and fake name and fake group, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out, pretty much just told everybody to go and so I can maybe extend this now, right? And then I'll go in here and I'll cut this real quick. Delete that. Oh, remember, cut, Command X or Control X. Don't hit delete. So he set this tweet out, pretty much just told everybody to go, and now I can move this one maybe to the other side. I'm going to be like, all right, let's move you guys over here. News. All right. So in 2019, The Alchemist, there's a little bit of delay because I got a whole bunch of video things going on right now. I've under a different and fake name and fake group, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out, pretty much just told everybody to go. I can actually extend that, I think. Go, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out, pretty much just told everybody to go and search and find this album on YouTube. Time passed, nobody found it. Let's fast forward to May 22nd, 2021. Alchemist came back to Twitter with another tweet that said, "We hid a whole album on YouTube under a fake name and YouTube page, fake album cover, song titles, the whole nine. Nobody found it." Now, this most likely was spawned because, all right, so you can slowly see how it's coming together here. All right, so I need to add some pictures in here. So what I'm going to do, fake group, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out. Let's find the picture of the Alchemist. See, and this is where it would make sense to actually, yeah, like title your pictures a little better. All right, so let's see here. So he set this tweet out, pretty much just told everybody to go and search and find this album on YouTube. All right, so here's what we could do now. So there's an option on here called dynamic zoom. And watch what happens when I just turn it on linear very quickly. And that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out, pretty much just told everybody to go and search and find this album on YouTube. Time passed, nobody found it. Let's fast forward to May 20th. Right, so you can see kind of what it's doing there. I need to align this stuff up a little bit better, right? So, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this. I think I'm gonna get rid of this tweet right here, this part, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So so right here in the audio, I can see that this is where. So I'm gonna turn the snap to grid off, drag this to be out right there, turn the grid back on. I'm going to snap these now right to that point. I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to add myself on there, right there again. Fake group, and that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out, pretty much just told everybody to go and search and find this album on YouTube. Time passed, nobody found it. Let's fast forward to May 22nd, 2021. All right, so right there, what I'm going to do is the same thing that I just did. Taking the audio cues here, I'm going to cut right here, drag this over, and then this right here is going to be another picture. So actually, I kind of like this one to be over here because it's them both together like in the studio. So I think what I'm going to actually do is do this and then find the maybe hold on, there's that Red Bull picture that I have of Alchemist. I don't know which one it is. It's because I was not as organized as I needed to be. All right, yep. So right here, this is him in the studio in Red Bull hiding on YouTube. Now I can do the same thing with the dynamic zoom here. Turn it on. It's going to be linear. We have a bunch of other options if you want to do ease in, ease out, whatever. On YouTube. So he set this tweet out pretty much. All right, so I see this black edge right here, which I don't like. So let's go straight linear. Make it. I don't want to crop it wrong, but make it zoom it. Bring it down. Was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out, pretty much just told everybody to go and search and find this album on YouTube. Time passed. I actually want to ease out. It was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out. No, ease in. Sorry. that it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out, pretty much just told everybody to go and search and find this album on YouTube. Time passed, nobody found it. Let's fast forward to May 22nd, 2021. Alchemist came back to Twitter with another tweet that said, "We hid a whole album on YouTube under a fake name and YouTube page, fake album cover, song titles, the whole nine. Command X. Nobody found it." Now, this most likely was spawned album on YouTube. Time passed, nobody found it. Let's fast forward to May 22nd, 2021. Alchemist came back to Twitter with another 22nd, 2021. Okay, let's make sure these are lined up, make sure they're crispy. Okay, and then this is probably where I'm going to bring the tweet in, even though he doesn't start talking yet. Alchemist came back to Twitter with another tweet that said, "We hid a whole album on YouTube under a fake name and YouTube page, fake album cover, song titles, the whole nine. Nobody found it." Now, this most likely 2021. All right, so I'm actually going to move this one down a little bit more because I want to be able to show them together. So I'm going to find another picture of Alchemist. Alchemist came back to Twitter with another tweet that said, "We hid..." I don't want another Alchemist picture here. So I'm going to go back here. I'll find the Alchemist. You kind of see what I'm doing. I'm just making everything kind of like match up with it. And this stuff isn't like overly complicated, right? It's just, you know, piecing everything together. Is this the big picture? Yeah, that could potentially work. Kind of a cool red picture. I don't know. Let's just use the red one. I like the color dynamics of it. Alchemist red. All right, let's be smart. All right, so let me open this up. Then downloads. Wrong downloads. The other downloads. Alchemist red. Drag that in. Drag that in right here. Yeah, I like that. So that looks kind of cool. So, oh, I can do the same thing with this. I want to do, instead of, let's do linear this time. 2021. Alchemist came back to Twitter with another tweet that said, "We hid a whole album on YouTube under a fake name and YouTube page, fake album cover, song titles, the whole nine. Nobody found it." Now, this most likely was spawned because of people reaching out. Song titles, the whole nine. Nobody found it. Now, this most... All right, so at this point, I'm going to bring myself back with the border. All right, and I'm just going to alternate. So left, right, left, right, and then I'm going to go back to the left again here as I close out. So I'm going to take this, X, stuff like over there. 22nd, 2021. Alchemist came back to Twitter with another tweet that said, "We hid a whole album on YouTube under a fake name and YouTube page, fake album cover, song titles, the whole nine. Nobody found it." Now, this most likely was spawned because of people reaching out on social media saying that they wanted an Earl and Alchemist album. And because Earl has recently appeared on 2 of the 4 songs from Alchemist recently released This Thing of Ours EP. All right, so right there, I mentioned the This Thing of Ours EP, right? So This Thing of Ours EP. My goal with this isn't just to like necessarily get clicks. You know, my goal with this is to be informative so that the people that are watching the video also get a lot from it. Album art, Elk. Because you want people to come back. You know, you have to give people value. And if you don't give them value, then they're not going to subscribe. But if you give them value and like, oh, this is kind of a cool video, and then in the description they can find a link to go buy the album, you know, and et cetera, then you're giving them something that's worth more than you know, just some clickbait. Goal's not clickbait. Goal's to get people to click. But for you to also give them, like, I keep doing the wrong thing, a high quality experience with the video you're making. And as you can tell, like, this isn't like the most overly produced greatest thing in the history of the world, right? This is basic. So Earl has recently appeared on 2 of the 4 songs from Alchemist recently released This Thing of Ours EP, which is out now. Did I cut the out? Looks like I cut that off a little too soon. Oh well. So let's see here. Recently appeared on 2 of the 4 songs from Alchemist. Recently pause this. Now I'm going to take this album cover, click it, go up to zoom, make it smaller, drag it over to the right. I like to make it proportional from like this to this, right? You can see it just enough. May even fade it in a little bit. And because Earl has recently appeared on 2 of the 4 songs from Alchemist recently released, This Thing of Ours EP, which is out now. All right, so at this point, I can either just close it or I can add some final statements. So probably what I should do at this point is add some final statements. So let me go back to myself here. How's it going, guys and gals? So as I'm recording, what do I want to say? So with all that being said, who knows, maybe there really is an Alchemist and Earl Sweatshirt project sitting on YouTube somewhere. Nobody's found it, but if you do find it, please don't be one of those people that shares your own music as the link and titles it as Alchemist and Earl Sweatshirt secret album, and it's like your story. We don't need that. We don't need that. So next time, this is Longevity.com and the podcast. I'll see you next Tuesday on the podcast, and peace. Okay, and so with that, now let me go and click on this other screen here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go back to videos. So that's this video here. Drag this in. You can see this file is getting pretty massive, or all the files I'm using. So this is going to go right here. Now, all this here was me explaining everything to you. So I'm going to take just the very end where I was doing my little monologue at the end, if you want to call it that. Hopefully it doesn't freeze and crash on me. That would suck. Uh-oh. There we go. Let me save this just to be smart. So let me save it as Alchemist, and I spelled it wrong, but who cares? All right, so right now I have this bottom track muted. I can unmute it here. Alchemist music as the link. So with all that being said, who knows? Maybe there really is an Alchemist. Yeah, that works. So let me do this. Drag that right over. Released This Thing of Ours EP, which is out. So with all that being said, oops, didn't mean to do that. I went on top of the audio. I cut that a little too close on there. So you click this button right here, it automatically will snap. So with all that being said, who knows? Maybe there really is an Alchemist and Earl Sweatshirt project sitting on YouTube somewhere. Nobody has found it yet, but if you do find it. All right, so what I like to do at the end here is I like to add on all the hip-hop news stuff that I do for Bringing Down the Band, I add this thing at the very end, which typically is like an outro that says, and this is where you find us, where we talk about hip-hop news every week, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not going to do that now because I need to update that video because we're actually going to be on YouTube instead of Twitch. But so instead, I'll just drag in the short drop like this. Peace. Now, the visual components are now done, I think. Let's watch this from the beginning. Oh, I need to add the link stuff at the beginning too. I always like to put the link border around. This is Sean, Longevity with BringingDownTheBand.com and the New Old Heads podcast, and I'm bringing you some hip hop news. So in 2019, the Alchemist sent rap Twitter into a small frenzy. And fake name and fake group, and it was hiding on YouTube. So he set this tweet out. Pretty much just told him how to go and search and find this album on YouTube. Time passed, nobody found it. Fast forward to May 22nd, 2021. Alchemist came back to Twitter with another tweet that said, we hit the whole album on YouTube under fake name and YouTube page, fake album cover, song titles, old line, nobody found it. Now this most likely was spawned because of people reaching out on social media saying that they wanted Earl Alchemist album, and because Earl has recently appeared on 2 of the 4 songs from Alchemist recently released, This Thing of Ours EP, which is out now. So with all that being said, who knows? Maybe there really is an Alchemist and Earl Sweatshirt project sitting on YouTube somewhere. Nobody's found it yet. But if you find it, please don't be one of those people that shares your own music as the link and titles it as Alchemist and Earl Sweatshirt secret album, and it's like your story. We don't need that. So next time, this is LongevityBringingDownTheBand.com and the New Old Heads podcast. I'll see you next Tuesday on the podcast, and peace. All right, so that's decent. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to compound it all to one clip or one video. The reason why I'm doing this is because now hopefully I can see that the audio is in sync, because you noticed that before it was like frenzy when he shared that a long-awaited album said you would unlink these clips and then you would move the audio either forward or back depending on where you need it to go to get it to link. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click this and I'm actually just going to boost the volume up. I'm going to look at the waveforms on this because I don't want them to clip, but I'm going to boost them up. In 2021, Alchemist came back to Twitter with another. So with all that being said, who knows? Maybe there really is an Alchemist and Earl Sweatshirt project So I have already added, so my default microphone that you're listening to me talk right now on in Streamlabs already has a compressor and a limiter and an EQ on it. So if I don't want to add more compression on top of it personally, I don't like to ridiculously overcompress. All right, so now at the very beginning, the only thing left to do is to add some subtle music underneath it. Now we want it to be there subtle. We don't want it to be crazy. I don't like to use the artists that I'm talking about for the simple fact that, one, you could get dinged for it, and two, I mean, I am a music producer and I have a whole bunch of copyright safe music that I made. So there's a shameless plug for myself. Pop news music. Drag this in here. This is Sean, Longevity with bringingdowntheband.com and the New Old Heads podcast, and I'm bringing you some hip hop news. So in 2019, The Alchemist sent Rap Twitter into a... I'm actually going to turn the volume down to maybe -10 here. It's still a little loud. And the way that I did the audio here, now, not everybody's going to be able to do this, right? I mean, I'm a music producer by trade, so this is just part of the bonus, but I have the intro part a little bit louder than the rest of it. If you wanted to, you can get in here really close on your own music. You could cut it. You can turn the volume on this one up and the volume on this one down. You know, I actually have the volume like that written in the original file. This is Sean, Longevity with bringingdowntheband.com and the New Old Heads podcast, and I'm bringing you some hip hop news. All right, so at this point, I have my video, and my video is done. I'm going to go click on this little thing over here, do the entire timeline. I like to just do YouTube, 1920, 1080 HD, quick time here. Just going to name this Alchemist Secret Project. Now at this point in time, when you're uploading your content, you need to make sure of a handful of things. One, the title of the video, if you want people to actually click on it, needs to be enticing. Your thumbnail needs to be enticing, and your description has to have some sort of description in it so that, you know, it shows up and, you know, SEO is working for you and not against you. Yep. And then I'm going to render it and I'm going to be good. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully that was somewhat informative. I didn't really have a crazy script for doing this. I just want to make sure that I'm documenting how to do this stuff for people that may want to do it. Obviously this took me a long, over an hour or so. But it was also because I was showing you how I was doing it, and less of how, like, if I'm just doing it, I go a lot faster. You know, it's like picture, cut, you know, move it around. And typically I'm done in like 15 minutes or so. So this is kind of a cool way that you can make content for your channel. It could be high quality, not, you know, higher quality, if you will. You can definitely make it a lot better, the better of a video designer you become throughout the, you know, the years. But this is a good start, you know, and I've been doing this for about these type of videos for a little over a year now, and I'm just getting better slowly as I keep going. So hope that was informative for you. If you like it, you know, subscribe. If you want more tips on how to do this type of stuff, I'm going to be uploading all of those to this Be a Better Artist channel, including tips for artists. The goal with the channel is to share information of everything that an independent artist needs to succeed, whether that's making their own videos, making their own artwork, how to title the things, how to communicate and network and do all the things, I guess. So subscribe to the channel if you will. I'm Longevity. Follow me at Longevity pretty much everywhere on social media, and I'll see you next time. Peace.